Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drake Wing Gaming. So if you know me on Twitter, The Gaming Dragon, today I'm coming back at you with another Let's Play episode of Kingsguard. So y'all, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm Chan, you were up, and let's go. Let's see, so where were we? We're a little further into that, okay. Even with all that I've read, I can only name a handful of species. Oh, sorry, that sounded a little rude, didn't it? I didn't mean to categorize you like a test subject. It's alright. There are a lot of things you have yet to witness in the world that books can't always explain. Being stuck in the castle nearly all my life hasn't done much other than increase my curiosity. Sometimes I really wish that I could venture outside the town. It's even more dangerous out there. But I would have you protect me. You took a quick sip of your drink and nearly choked as the alcohol burned your throat. The strength of the booze was one of the most potent you had ever had. After trying a few more sips, you realized it likely wasn't meant for human consumption. Though for you it was just a bit of a challenge. Your body would be able to handle it. So, how about you tell me what is going on? What is it that you and Father are hiding? Straight to business, it seems. No beating around the bush, either. Leandros looked around nervously. He wasn't trying to be sly or inconspicuous, as he even made sure that there wasn't anyone in the booth behind you. He leaned in close and waited for you to do the same. What I'm about to tell you, you can't let anyone know. Absolutely not in public, not even if you think you're alone back at the castle. What about... absolutely no one. Do you understand? Look in his eyes. There were no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Your lips needed to be sealed like concrete. You nodded your head in agreement. Now, before you say anything else, you must promise me that you won't speak until I am finished. And don't draw attention to us when I tell you. No yelling, no looking around, just keep your eyes on me, alright? Alright, I promise. You bit your lip and stared into Leandros' eyes while he exchanged a fierce but solemn gaze, as though you were the only person in the world. It was a bit endearing to have him look at you so intently. Being just inches from his face, all you needed to do was lean forward the remaining distance and you would have fulfilled a forbidden fantasy. But you restrained yourself. Now wasn't the time for that. He opened his lips and you listened with holy interest. We don't know who, but there are people out there. Those who... He stuttered. His attention seemed divided again. He waited on bated breath. It had only been a second, but it felt like an hour. Your patience grew thin. People who... What? Don't stall, just tell me already! Great. At the worst possible time, too. What are you talking about? You turned around in your seat and your eyes focused on what he was distracted by. In the middle of the crowd was a towering figure at least a head above everyone else. At first you didn't recognize him. All you could see was two sharp horns protruding from his head. Those blocking his way quickly scurried out of his path. It was wise of them to do that, and you realized it would be also wise of you to not get caught staring so intently, but you found you couldn't pull away. Is that who I think it is? We'll have to put this conversation on hold, it seems. The Beastman seemed to be squinting, but as soon as he spied your table, a smile spread across his face and he rose his hand up as though he were greeting a friend. I was really hoping he wouldn't see me, so much for having poor eyesight. He's headed this way? Like, here, at this table? I can only hope that he is mistaken. Back when you were a tyke, reaching only up to your father's waist, you were taken to the Coliseum to watch your first match. Restless and enthusiastic, you bounced up and down in your seat, enthralled and inspired by the men and beastmen in the arena below, clashing with brawn and blade. But there was one beastman who quickly caught your attention, and not only did he captivate you, he inspired you. A large rhino beastman stole the show, taking down competitor after competitor, before finally succumbing to a fatigue after hours of non-stop fighting. It was the start of a legend. Thousands in the audience cheered as a new champion was crowned. From then on, the beastman was heralded as the butcher of the arena. He never stayed in town for long, but when he did arrive, the stands were always filled with his supporters scrambling to see his matches. Even if it meant facing the wrath of the devil himself, you would shirk your duties and rush out of the castle just to see him. Until today, you only got to see him from afar. Once he reached your table, you craned your neck up to look at him. He had to have been the most intimidating beastman you ever laid eyes on. Ha! Looks like I was right. I'd know that sourpuss like a look from a mile away. Never thought to see you down here again, though. I have to say, I'm surprised to see you leave that stone prison. Huh. 1 second, y'all. It is water. The time for water is now. Yep. Alright, come on. Bottle open. There we go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Okay. Delicious. Leandros seemed to be smiling, but from the slight twitch in the corner of his lip, you could tell it was forced. It's good to see you too, Ramos. Damn. Been ages since I last saw you, Leo. Without pardoning himself, he took his seat right next to you. You barely had time to scoot over as his enormous frame pushed you against the wall. Ramos alone took up half the booth in his breadth, and as soon as he spread his legs, you lost what little space you had. Leandros glanced over at you, looking slightly worried about your disposition. Ramos, would you? You have no idea how beat I am right now. I just finished beating the hell out of some trash-talking shithead going around claiming he was me. I see. Well, should be the last time he opens his mouth that wide now. Going to be hailing that jaw for a while. Hey, I think you're crushing... Kind of hot in here, don't you think? Why'd you take the corner booth? There's plenty of other spaces open. You were pushed even further into the wall as he struggled to remove his overcoat within the small space the booth provided. Much better. Ramos tossed his coat to the side and it draped over you. The leather jacket was far heavier than you anticipated. If you hadn't embraced yourself, you likely would have just smashed your head into the table and lost a few teeth. As you wrestled to get it off of you, you were hit with his odor. It was musky, earthy, and similar to Leandros' own scent, yet distinctive enough for you to tell the difference. After the first taste, you needed a second breath. You surprised yourself with how much you desired the rhino's aroma. Being that you were usually more fond of the sweeter smells of life, like rose and lavender bath soap you used. It was pleasing, almost a bit too pleasing. You stifled your last sniff and managed to remove it from your head, then attempted to fold it in your lap. Leandros was staring at you, partially fazed that the rhino had done that. Ramos, I know you're a bit dense, but could you at least have the decency to apologize? Dense? Apologize? For what? Leandros pointed his head in your direction. You've been squishing him since you sat down. I know you take up space, but perhaps you take care to look before you leap. Ramos glanced over at the wall, then moved his head down. What? When did he get here? He's been there the whole time. Ah, so small I didn't see you there, little man. Sorry about that. When you're as big as I am, it's not hard to miss all the small things in your path. Funny, huh? You'd think that being tall you'd make you take in your surroundings more. Kind of like a hawk. It's not like he was hiding there. So touchy. You're acting like you're the one who was pressed. It's alright. I'm good and nothing appears to be broken. That's good then. Don't like crushing things that are smaller than me unless they had it coming. So you're a friend of Leo then? Oh, you're a human. As far as I know. There's a problem? Nah, just surprised to see one out here in the rust. He extended a huge calloused hand. Name's Ramos. You brought your own hand forward to shake and felt the pressure of your puny human fingers being squashed in his vice-like grasp. Like a man, you gritted your teeth and fought through it. Call me Jake. Pleasure's mine. As soon as he let go, your hand tingled and pulsed as blood forced its way back into your veins. You shook it discreetly under the table for the pain and displeasure to pass. So, what's a human like you doing in a place like this? Well, He's with me. I invited him here. Okay, so then how do the two of you know each other? He's my... We both go to the Coliseum quite often. Jake here frequently attends your matches. You could even say that he is one of your admirers. Is that so? You would have to have been exceptionally dense to not know what was happening here. Leandros was trying to steer the conversation as though he were captain of a ship, and you were just a lowly deckhand unable to get in a single word. It was actually a bit annoying, especially if he was planning on interrupting you through the entire night. Really now? You should... He glared at Leandros from across the table, and he got the message. Yes, I've always found your fights to be fascinating. Not many can fill the stands like you do, and that's for good reason. You really know how to put on a show. Looks like y'all, it is water time. Well then, glad to find someone who appreciates what I do. You say that like you don't have many fans. Yeah, and most of them are women, though. Men, on the other hand, always have to show off. Think they got something to prove. Idiots. All of them are cocky bastards that need a little pain to right them. Give them the gift of a broken nose and they usually learn their lesson. Some cry home to be comforted in their mama's bosom, then show up with the whole family in tow hoping for payback. Ramos cracked his knuckles. Can't say I'm complaining about the extra attention, though. Help spread around the word. As violent as always. Got a reputation to uphold, but those jack-offs have it coming. Mess with the rhino and you get the horn. Well, you don't have much to worry about Jake here. I doubt he would be much of a challenge. You never know unless I try. How about an arm wrestling contest, then? Ramos slammed his arm down on the table and his bicep bulged. Looking at his size, and after witnessing firsthand the power of his handshakes, you likely wouldn't be able to move for a month. I think I'd rather watch you arm wrestle someone else, though I'd put my bets on you. No kidding. Wouldn't want to hurt you, after all. Have to say, it makes me a bit humbled to see someone so small look up to me. Kinda feel like a hero now. You're far from that. So kid, tell me, where are you from? He glanced over at Leandros and saw a small bead of sweat drip down his face. You had no idea why he looked so nervous, though, but he gave you a stare that told you to keep silent. I'm visiting from... Ezite. Ezite? Way out there in the town of limp arms and paper noses. Didn't realize my fame reached that far. But quite the distance to travel just to see me. Yeah, Leandros is pretty good at letting me know, and I get on the fastest horse I find to get there. That's quite some dedication. So then you two ended up becoming friends after seeing my matches then. That reminds me, you're having another match coming up, right? Leandros quickly chimed in. A few more beads of sweat now appeared on his forehead. Huh? I would like to know as well. Yeah, in about 3 days. I suppose to be some jacked up heir from Tundra. Ah, so then right after the coronation. Jake, what do you say we go see it after that? It sounds like a great idea. So if you tell him when I'm in town, how do you know when I get... Well, I'll be. This day's turning out to be full of surprises. The bead of sweat on Leandros' face slid down his cheek and vanished into his mane. He sighed, and you thought you heard him mouth the words, "Thank the gods." Ramos, you hunk of meat, when did you get here? Well, if that isn't a pleasing sight for sore eyes after a long day, just came in a few days ago. And you didn't come to see me right away? I didn't see you at Rose's. If you've been cavorting around other brothels, you know what the girls will do to you. There's only one brothel in this town for me, you know that. The barmaid backed off from Ramos and smiled, seemingly satisfied with his answer. Good. That's what I like to hear. Have to say, it's been years since I last saw the two of you share a table. What got the two of you back together? Had me worried that you had a falling out or something. We haven't had many chances to meet up is all. That's a relief. You two were like peas in a pod. Well, take it in your tastes haven't changed. I'll get you the usual. So know exactly what I want. The barmaid winked at him and turned to leave. As she walked on by, Ramos couldn't resist spanking her as she passed. He didn't stop there as he followed suit with a firm but gentle feel and a murr of satisfaction. You were afraid that she was going to lash back with a slap to the face, but she merely turned, smirked, and continued on her way. Leandros brought his hand up to his face and shook his head. Already at it again? Nothing wrong with a little play. Likes it when I do that. Ought to try it yourself. She's been hankering for you for years, you know. Not interested. Shame. You know what I'm talking about, though, right, kid? Ramos nudged you in the arm. Yeah. One second, y'all. It is water time. Oh my god. The barmaid returned with 4 large glasses of ale. On the house. On the house! Like with Leandros, she bent down low so that everyone had a clear view of her cleavage. Ramos bit his lip and Leandros once again did his best to look away to no avail. Now you two play nice, don't want to scare the little cutie away. I'll be back to check on you later. As she left, Ramos couldn't take his eyes off her until she was gone. Leandros seemed to be right about her becoming intimate with her customers. Now that you thought about it, you might have seen her working at Rose's a few times. Going to be a real fun night after this. What do you say, Leo? I'll pass. Besides, don't you think you should be thinking about taking a bath? Your odor is almost unbearable. I'm surprised Jake hasn't said anything about it yet. It's just sweat. Going to be working it up again anyway, so there's no need to bathe. Besides, your kind has always had highly sensitive noses. Speaking of which, I've been smelling something sweet since I got here. That would be Jake's soap. Ah, I don't normally use this kind. It's just all I had. Is it? I thought it was the kind you always use since you smell like that quite often. You're mistaken. You must be smelling something else, obviously. Well, I think it smells good. Maybe a bit on the feminine side for me, but I appreciate it when my company doesn't stink like trash. You're always in the Coliseum and on the road. You should speak for yourself. You think that I would be used to it, huh? Well, I don't particularly like the smell of blood and gore even as often as I roll around in it. And on the road I make it a habit to find water to wash in. I have to say, I do take care of my hygiene more often than most. So you don't normally smell this bad? As I said, this is just sweat. The night was still young as the three of you chatted and drank the time away. Leandros was finally in better spirits, of course. It might have been because he was on his way to finishing his 3rd glass. You yourself didn't feel much of anything, but that was to be expected as you managed to keep your glass count to a minimum. Though even if you hadn't, you likely would have only been slightly tipsy. It was a strange phenomenon and trait that you adopted from your mother. From what Leandros and your father told you, she was the one who could be seen winning several drinking contests in a night before finally succumbing too. Certainly not the most useful of talents, or even one to brag about as a queen, but she was quite different from the others. Everyone around you that knew her spoke of her highly, though, of her kindness and generosity, and how you took after her. Even with the strong ale, you had no difficulty keeping your head on straight. Ramos, on the other hand, showed no restraint. And right as he rounded the corner, BAM! I was there. I walloped him so hard he must have choked on a few teeth. Ramos howled as he finished telling his story. His laugh was equal parts sound and spittle. His thick hand slapped the table multiple times, creating an almost earth-shattering noise. He held onto your mug tightly to prevent it from bouncing around and spilling over. The three of you had roughly the same amount to drink in comparison to your respective sizes. You'd have thought Ramos would have been the hardy type, the one who would take a barrel before he started to see doubles. You're beginning to see just what kind of person Ramos was. Not like it was that much of a surprise, as he always looked to be the wild and rambunctious type. What? Don't think I'm funny, do ya? Ramos was doing his best to keep his enunciations as clear as possible, but the words still slurred together. He leaned in close to you, expecting an answer. His intimidating and bestial glare made you reconsider what you were initially going to say. Yeah, it was very funny. You should have laughed at the beginning. I set that up perfectly, I'll have you know. And what about you, huh? I get the feeling that story is a lot more about me now that I think about it. That's when we first met, so it was some time ago. You had just stolen some food from a vendor and tried to get away. I was just a soldier, not even a knight at the time, and just so happened to be nearby when I heard the commotion and attempted to track you down. Needless to say, I was reckless in my youth and somehow fell for a trap so painfully obvious I think I could even feel it now. Leandros rubbed his cheek and Ramos belted another deep laugh. Ha! Of course, I remember now. One second, y'all. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks or a tip if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!